it's Mo. I wanted to try to get these swatches done for you today. I've already mentioned to you that the days are shorter. I work with natural light, and I leave when it's dark, and when I get home I have like 20 minutes of light. So I'm just gonna go on these swatches. This is right now at least an Ulta exclusive with Colourpop, and I'm just gonna call it their Butterfly collection. There are 3 palettes in the collection. There's Gimme Butterflies, and A Flutter, and then there's Butter Me Up. So those are the 3 palettes in the collection. There's a few other things in the collection. There's some of their juicy lip glosses. There are some Super Shock shadows, and there's like brow duos and that kind of thing. But this is just about the 3 palettes, because I know for me that's usually the thing I'm most interested in, and certainly the most interested in seeing swatches of. I also looked into which of the colors in these palettes are part of the permanent, or the current at least, Colourpop collection that you could buy individually. So we'll do swatches first, and then we'll talk about that. So this is the Gimme Butterflies. So pretty. And as I said, at least as of now, this is an Ulta exclusive. I suppose that could change, but I don't know. So this is You Are a Catch, Over It, Woke, and Making Moves. So we're just gonna go across. There's the colors in the first row. And then we move on to Fair Play, Winged, Get Lost, which is a pressed glitter, which you know I'm not a fan of, but I will swatch it, and Glider. So there's those 4. There's the pressed glitter, which is always difficult to swatch. There's that Glider color, super bright. This is the shimmery pink shade. Let's see here, there we go. That's pretty accurate. So very pinky color collection, which you can tell already just from the first 2 rows. And then in the bottom row, we've got another pressed glitter, overpacked. This is Labyrinth, Skipper, which makes me think of Barbie's little sister, and then Bloomin' is the last one in this palette. Very red, very pinky. If that's your thing, you're gonna like this palette. I'm pretty familiar with the Colourpop formula. I have several Colourpop singles. I have a lot of Colourpop palettes. I'm not like a diehard, like I know every color and all that stuff, but I'm pretty familiar with the formula and the colors and that kind of thing. So those are the colors in the Gimme Butterflies palette. And again, these pressed glitters don't always swatch great, but you get the idea. I'm just showing you, wiping that off. You know, some of those are definitely pressed pigments, and they've got those red dyes in them, and they're marked as not intended for use in the immediate eye area, because some of those red pigments are not approved in the United States by the FDA for use on the eyes. Now, they are approved in other countries, so it's, you know, as with anything, it's like you have to make your own decision about it. I have never had a problem with those particular kinds of colors. I don't wear pressed glitters though, because I like my corneas intact. So I don't wear pressed glitters. Again, it's your decision. A Flutter is next. This is the warmest of the 3 palettes, which you'll see right there. Lots of reds, reddish oranges, golds. We start with Hungry Ghost, which is a pressed glitter. Then it's Transcend, Sidetracked, and Fly Away. As I said, some of these are permanent shades, and we'll talk about which are permanent and which are exclusive to these palettes. first. Let's do the swatches for you. You know, and it's, as is typical, kind of that first row is usually kind of the lighter shades, like a highlight or that pressed glitter in particular. I don't even like swatching pressed glitters because I feel like they make the whole palette like a mess. Maybe that's just me. And then Satin Wings is next here. Satin Wings, Chauffeur, another pressed glitter, Grove, and Dwindle. Those four. Generally speaking, I'm a pretty big fan of Colourpop shadows. They tend to have good pigmentation, they tend to blend very well, and they certainly, I mean, Colourpop is kind of nuts with the number of releases that they have. You know, like once a week they release, and then, you know, the week of Black Friday, leading into Black Friday and up to Cyber Monday, they had like a release every day. Insane. Insane. But if there's a color you're looking for, you're probably going to find it from Colourpop. Meteorite is next. Crisscross. Ooh. O-O-O. And then this one is Swallowtail. Here are those four. There's a lot of like red in both of these palettes. I'm sure you've noticed that. This one just happens to lean more red-orange, and the other one happens to lean more reddish pink. And then that last shade is a matte, I'm going to call it a matte violet because it's a very reddish purple. That's Swallowtail. So there's the shades. And I think these are swatching in the way that I would expect a Colourpop palette to swatch. You know, they're good about having different finishes in their palettes, and I don't want to say different levels of pigmentation because that makes it sound like some shadows are good and some are bad, but not every shadow from Colourpop is like in your face. Some of them definitely are, but not all of them are. There's some variety, and I would say that is true of these palettes. And I'm wiping these swatches off again. I don't think I have any obvious staining from that one, but I do have glitter on my arm from those pressed glitters. And then here is Butter Me Up. All the shades in Butter Me Up. Big Three, the Big Three, right here. Fleet, Silk Street, and then Overpacked, which is a glitter that was actually in one of the other palettes we just swatched. I find that very kind of curious, actually, that they would repeat the same pressed glitter in two palettes in the same collection. I don't know why that would be. Like, is that, I don't know. I'd be theorizing. Like, is that just because it's an Ulta palette or something? I don't know why they would do that. That seems like an unusual thing for them to do, based on my experience with Colourpop. You can see that, boy, when you hit the light, that first shade, the Big Three, just really gleams. And then those other, you know, the two mattes are clearly quite pigmented. And again, we're seeing that red leaning colors for this. Next row, we've got Stay Golden. Island Hopping is another pressed glitter. They love the pressed glitters. I do not. This is On a Whimsy. And Paradiso? Paradiso, I think. That's how I would say that. That purple right there. There's the four shades. Again, swatching well. The silver's very pretty. Reddish violet purple in this palette. And then down here we get a little more neutral maybe. We've got Made to Last. These feel very good to the touch, all of them, except the pressed glitters. Details, Night Dream, and Reckless. So those are the four on the bottom. They look like that. So this is a black. And this is like a deep, kind of a Bordeaux, leaning a little more purple or more violet. So you can see the color story in that one. and that color is just like whoosh. So those are the swatches of all 3 of the exclusive Ulta Butterfly collection, I'm going to call them, palettes. So let's just quickly talk about what's permanent and what's exclusive to this palette. So again, this is Gimme Butterflies, which I have on my eyes today. So the exclusive shades in here, at least that I'm not finding anywhere else, are You Are a Catch, Woke, Making Moves, which I swear I've seen before as a single shadow on Colourpop. Maybe they just don't have it anymore. Fair Play, another one that I'm almost certain I've seen as a single on Colourpop, but when I checked the website today, it was not there as an individual shadow. Glider is only in this palette as of now, and Skipper also. Oh, excuse me, and Bloomin'. And this is the shade that I have like on my outer corner and in the crease, and I love this color. It's kind of a purpley burgundy matte with glitter. It really performed well. It's really a beautiful shade. It really adds to this palette. So those are the shades that I'm only finding in this palette. I'm not finding them anywhere on the Colourpop site. Like when you search the Colourpop site, none of those colors come up as individuals, and they don't seem to show up in any other palettes either. And then A Flutter, this is the warm palette. And in this one, Transcend, I'm only finding in this palette. Also Fly Away, which is this one. We've got Grove, which is this pressed glitter, and Dwindle. Again, these are shades I'm only seeing in this palette. I'm not seeing them elsewhere. And Swallowtail, this one. And again, that was the A Flutter palette. And then Butter Me Up is the third, as we've seen. And in this palette, Fleet. This one I'm not seeing anywhere else. Silk Street, I'm not finding anywhere else. Details, which is this one, I'm not finding anywhere else. Or Reckless. Like if you're a die-hard Colourpop collector, you might already have a lot of these colors in your collection. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I have several Colourpop singles. I have several of the palettes. I certainly don't have every palette. So actually for me, I think there was only one shade, I think it was Labyrinth, is the only shade that I already owned as a single shadow. So for me, I didn't get any repeats other than that one in these 3 palettes. So those are the 3 palettes from the Butterfly collection that I just got yesterday at Ulta. And one of the reasons I wanted to get this up is because when Colourpop has collections inside the Ulta stores, at least around here, they go really fast. So I thought I would give you that opportunity to see what they are. And I know the lighting, I mean, we're almost in the dark, which is kind of comedic, but that's kind of what we're dealing with. And I know I want to ask people, because I specifically only work with natural light because I'm trying to keep things as close to reality as I can. Like I have lines on my face. I'm not trying to filter anything. I'm not trying to improve upon anything. But this time of year, the lighting is making it really difficult for me to film at all. So would your preference be that I stick with natural light and just not have as much availability to film? Or would you like me to bring in a ring light or some softbox lights or something? I'd really like your input on that, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I don't refer to this as my channel because in my mind, I always think of it as our channel. Like, you know that I'm not going to do PR or sponsorships and that I work with natural light. I've kind of made that that compact with you, if you want to say it that way. And on your end, you kind of were like, yeah, you're not going to look perfect, and I get that. But maybe at this point, at least through the winter, it would be good for me to get lighting, but I'm okay to not do that, and I would like your input. So if you leave me a comment, that would be awesome. I hope that was helpful to you. If you've been interested in these palettes, that is always my only purpose here. I hope you are having a good day, and I will talk to you soon.